Hello everybody. Well, the last time I saw quite a lot of you people, I expected the antidote. This microphone has got a ridge on it, and so remind me not to headbutt it, except if my cap is fitting, otherwise I'm going to have blood all down my face for most of the gig. Well, anyway. Yes, the last time I saw some of you was probably on election eve, and it was just fucking great to be in a country where something approaching my side won an election for the first time since 1974. In the land of the bland where the one-eyed man is king and the thing to say is nothing but a Labour opposition, as all the sting and political suss of a lemon, a soundtrack fixed by the awe-inspiring tedium of it all. Till over from Australia came a rasping clarion call. The press called him the Lizard of Oz, so Attila says, good on you, St. Paul. Yeah, Keating, we need you to headbutt the Tories in the scrotal sack. Yeah, we need you to not say black is white when we know it's black. In an age of sycophants, you're one of the angry few. You sound like a pissed money to it. But Keating, we need you. Well, a bit anyway. You're a bit better than Newsom. You dare to put your arm around our Queen. The press said, that's obscene! Victoria hacks and pommy lords stirred up the jingoistic hordes, privatising everything's a really naff idea. But go for the Republic and I'll buy you a beer, cause the relics of a long dead empire are not needed here. That much is clear. Yeah, Keating, we need you to steal John Major's stamp collecting tin and ask Princess Diana how she is so thick and yet so thin. In an age of sycophants, you're one of the angry few. You sound like you're pissing your own money to it, but Keating, we need you. So prepare for beatification, oh hatchet-faced son of the Australian nation. Your cricket team's shite, but you're alright. Yeah, Keating, we need you. Ta. Well, there you go. I wouldn't say all's well that ends well, but all's a little bucket of sick rather than a big Great Lake of sick that ends a little bucket of sick rather than the Great Lake of sick. Now, well, there you go. Vomit in charge, but not a lot, just a bit. Now, maybe one day we can actually arrive at a situation where there is no sick at all actually involved in the whole process of government. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, anyway, now for this next song, this is addressed to Phil, the PA guy. If there's any chance of a little bit of reverb to try and disguise the fact that I can't sing, it would be really appreciated. Because this is actually a celebration. I haven't got any mandola at all in the monitor. So if I could have some of that as well, that would be really, really ace. But this is a song that I wrote 3 days after Margaret Thatcher was stabbed in the back and kicked it into, well, not exactly oblivion, but at least annoyance value by a train spotter who's actually just as bad as she is. But let's have no bones about that. Let's have no illusions. The only difference between John Major and Margaret Thatcher is that he wears grey suits and pretends to be really boring and dull, and well, he is really boring and dull. And Margaret Thatcher just made everyone so angry that you couldn't actually accuse her of being dull because she just turned everyone into psychopaths with simply by the sight of her. This is called Tyler's Smiles. Now, what Tyler in 1381 was the leader of the Peasants' Revolt, which revolted against the first poll tax. And in 1990 there was a massive Peasants' Revolt against the second poll tax, which was basically the reason that Margaret Thatcher got kicked out, stabbed in the back by her own side. Because, writing letters to your MPs or whatever doesn't do anything at all, but as they proved in Los Angeles, if you actually riot on Trafalgar Square, people actually listen to you. If you actually take direct action, they actually do listen. If you just sort of write letters or complain or go on demonstrations, they don't give a fuck. This is called Tyler Smiles. It's about the downfall of Margaret Thatcher, which took place in November 1991, and it was a fucking wonderful day. few in the dark old days of '82, when 1,000 corpses stoked an awful fire. Here's to '84 and '5, when all our dreams took another dive, midst the jeers of Mammon and the howls of the diggers' choir. There were times I really thought they'd all been conned and all been bought. Too much chinford on the brain, but never going to think again. But it's a taxing time for Essex now, and Tyler smiles on an angry crowd stretching miles and miles. 600 years, but the lesson wasn't learned. And Tyler smiles through a hail of bricks and stones and tiles. Now history rolls back, the worm has turned, retribution earned. Tell me why it took so long. All these years we've sung this song, and will the spectre ever go away? 100,000 garden gnomes outside 100,000 homes are standing on their own 2 feet today. No strident tones now, just a whine. A hand-picked backcloth holds the line. The same song with a few new chords for Albion's use of friendly hordes. A thornless rose is bending in the breeze, and Tyler smiles through the acid rain and the sheepdog trials. Perhaps he never really went away. And Tyler smiles on the village greens and the 7 dials. There's still a bit of fight in us today. Tyler smiles. And if it's really over and the swords turn into plowshares, she'll go to Eastern Europe. Oh, they really love her there. The full Alexa and the Iron Curse. And Tyler smiles as Labour's leaders close their files on what's his name from their own history. And Tyler smiles on that angry crowd stretching miles and miles. Gotcha, lady, gotcha, finally. Tyler smiles. Thank you. But sad to say, once again, it's not true. She's back. And she's here in Australia. This is called Iron Lady 2. I thought that we got rid of her on that day in November, and she'd become the memory we try not to remember. But wear your garlic necklaces. Prepare yourselves, alack. It's re-enter the dragon. Yes, Maggie's coming back. I thought she was in Poland, writing Lech Walesa speeches. Or maybe in the Kremlin with Yeltsin and his leeches. But no, she's in Australia. I saw her on TV in pearls and bouffant hairdo. As nasty as could be. A clitoris of polished steel. Her nipples, finest brass. No hair under her armpits. No smell comes from her arse. She lives on metal railings and newborn baby stew. It's a nightmare on Perm Street. It's Iron Lady too. But Thatcher caused such misery, such poverty, such pain, that she's gone incognito. She's had to change her name. She's now called Bronwyn Bishop. She's got an Aussie twang, but she is purest Maggie from foot to frock to fang. Prepare the silver crucifix. Sharpen the wooden stake for Maggie's ghost haunts Canberra, bejeweled, undead, awake. Beware the Tory vampire with zombies in her womb, for very soon she may emerge from Dr. Hewson's tomb. I wrote that this afternoon, actually, as it goes. And well, I mean, I was particularly freaked out by the reappearance. Anyway, let's hope she goes the way of a lot of the wildlife in Australia. Maybe she might end up being stranded on the Prince's Highway or the Hume Highway, and someone might mistake her for a kangaroo. I'm not much one for snapshots, but the world is now my oyster. I chronicle my wanderings in poem and in song, but when I came down under, I brought along my camera to photograph the wildlife, that rich and teeming throng. On my first few days in Oz, I wasn't sure that they existed. Those strange exotic species, they mostly run away. But on the way to Melbourne, the truth became apparent. If you want to see some wildlife, then take the motorway. There are wallabies and wombats, there are possums, birds and lizards, and kangaroos of all sorts, yes, even a big red. And all these different species, well, they have one thing in common. Yes, each of them is wonderfully, spectacularly dead. So I'm chronicling nature, and I'm going to do it my way, taking photos of dead animals along the Prince's Highway. Buzz, buzz, wriggle, wriggle. Now, there are lots of flies in Aussie, and I know just where they come from, because there were lots of maggots in the creatures that I saw. Yes, every little corpse was a bloke like in the garden, more wrigglers and more squirmers than I've ever seen before. Now, I've made my contribution to Australian natural history. It's in your country's honour that I decompose this song. But one word of advice to all you wild dead photographers: stay inside your car, because the fuckers don't have Pong. There are wallabies and wombats, there are possums, birds and lizards, and kangaroos of all sorts, yes, even a big red. And all these different species, well, they have one thing in common. Yes, each of them is wonderfully, spectacularly dead, and with a squelch, another hapless kangaroo's the day that the government of Victoria built that brand new Hume Highway. Squelch. This one's about scapegoats and paranoia. Just look at us, we're the scourge of the land. We're Uncle Saddam's favourite band. We all eat babies and we're commies too, and we've all got AIDS and we'll give it to you with scaly tails and horns and hooves. We're gonna shoot everything that moves. We don't care just what you say, because you sold us the weapons anyway. Don't mess with us, we're foreign and we smell. We're Iraqi invaders from hell. If your telly goes wrong or your car won't start, you can bet your life we played our part. Your team doesn't win or you miss the bus, then 10 to 1, it's all down to us. If a dog runs off with your copy of The Sun and brings it back with a crossword done, if someone smacks you in the head or you find John Hewson in your bed, we did it! And everything else as well, cause we're Libyan students from hell. There's something rather sarky about an invading Iraqi, can't you tell? But there's nothing very prudent about a Libyan student from hell. yours. We personally started 3 world wars. We broke your grand's coronation mugs. We sold Ben Johnson all his drugs. We caused the plague and the Great Fire too. We brought the prices right to you. We pushed Robert Maxwell over the side. We took Mark Bowden for his last ride. And if you paid your poll tax, well, you're all Iraqi invaders and Libyan students and Keating supporters from hell. This set to a popular tune is the real reason why the people that murdered the Portuguese photographer on the Rainbow Warrior got away with it. It's a New Zealand song, it's a bit ovine occasionally. Somewhere under the rainbow swam a spy, planted a bomb and left a man to die. Murder sanctioned by the Bulger crew. Sheep-shagging farmers told him what to do. Kiwi corporate interests don't give a damn. They just want someone to buy their lamb. Cowardly politicians toe the line. I've seen melted jelly with more spine. This angry pom is quite concerned for you, surrounded by sheep and governed by them too. Woody Guthrie, man. This lamb is your lamb, this lamb is my lamb, this lamb is your lamb, this lamb is my lamb. From its cuddly jumper to its crinkly rector, this lamb was made for you and me. You've been talking in your sheep. Cheers. Right, now a bit of culture from England. This is a crusty song. This is my Krusty Eurovision Song Contest number, which should originally have been sung by Krusty Springfield or Krusty Moore, but it's dedicated. There's a whole. I've got to explain about Krusty. It's a whole new tradition in the UK, which is evolved out of a sort of a mixture of the sort of mid-80s crass punk thing with a hybrid of the sort of like old hippie kind of sort of like field-dwelling, caravan-dwelling Glastonbury ethic, right? So what you got now is loads and loads of people. They're just coming out of hibernation now. It's April in the UK, which is like spring, obviously, and they're just coming out at the same time as the frogs and the lizards. They come out. They've spent their winters sort of freezing on sort of like lay-bys in small English roads, and then in April, May they come out of hibernation and get ready to practice the war cry, which is like, "Got any hash, man? Got any free tickets for Glastonbury?" So, but May, June, they're ready to go all the free festivals. If it's free, they go. If it's not free, they sit outside and complain and tell the people that are playing there they've sold out to capitalism because they charge them to get in. And it's like a really, I mean, a lot of the bands, I mean, there's a lot of really good bands that the Crusties follow, like the Levelers, Back to the Planet, New Model Army, Radical Dance Faction, Blythe Power. There's many bands, and I like all, and Carter, and I like all of them. And I'm a sort of clean crusty. I mean, I just don't like bell-end cheddar, basically. I like to wash my foreskin out, but in every other respect, I'm a bit of a crusty. Anyway, this is a crusty. They all have, and the most important thing about the crusty scene is, of course, they all have dogs on strings. Well, this is it, really. Going to be Astoria, the Levelers are playing. Excuse me, have you got 10p, mate? You won't catch me, mate, with my doggy on a string. with my doggy on a string. I follow RDF and Chumbawamba, and sometimes go to blind power. If it's more than a quid at the door, I sit outside and glower. Meat eaters I just can't stand, though I've got a leather wristband. I'm hitching up to Cambridge, the strawberry fair. If it's free and they pay badly, I'll gladly be there with my doggy on a string. With my doggy on a string. Most of the time I live in a squat, though sometimes I stay with my mum. I smoke dope a hell of a lot, I put chug nuts around my bum. Jules designed my tattoo, cider is better than glue. I'm going down the big field to get my revenge on the pigs who kicked my head in last year at Stonehenge. With my doggy on a string, with my doggy on a string. I follow new model, I'll be round Europe on 38p a day. I travelled round in a motorised skip, so I always had somewhere to stay. I used to like the alarm, I hate the Smiths and the Bar. I'm going down the Astoria, the Levellers are place. Excuse me, have you got 10p, mate? You won't catch me, with my doggy on a string. With my doggy on a string. Woof woof. Cheers. And another bizarre cover version is my polluted version of a really crap 1970s hit by Martha and the Muffins called Echo Beach. Well, this is called Worthing Beach, and it's about where I live, or near where I live, on the south coast. I live in a place called Southwick, in between Brighton and Worthing, on the south coast of England. We have really big problems with pollution, which have been exacerbated by the fact that now they've privatised the water industry, the economic rationalists, which you narrowly avoided in Nightmare on Perm Street a few weeks ago, privatised the water industry. That yes, it falls from the sky, but they've sold it to a businessman. Right, and okay, that businessman now has a vested interest in making money for his shareholders rather than providing water for people. So some people who can't pay their water bills, because the economic rationalists believe you should pay for things, even things like water, even though it falls from the sky, they're having their water cut off. So now dysentery is coming back in the UK because people haven't got any way of flushing their toilets. They haven't got any water in it, obviously. So dysentery is coming back. Great, wonderful, civilised society. Union Jack, great, you know, brilliant, proud to be British. Fuck off, right? Okay, and of course, the one of the even worse than that in some ways is the fact that the entire sea around our coast is being completely polluted to fuck because now the businessman who runs the, for instance, Southern Water, which is near where I live, believe, well, basically they have a vested interest in making money for their shareholders rather than providing proper sewage treatment. So now we have different sorts of fish in the sea. I love fishing, and I go sea fishing quite a lot. And I used to just catch flounders and plaice and dabs and soles and bass. But now I get the funny sort of fish that swim half in and half out of the water. They've got a teat at one end and a sort of like elastic hole at the other. And sometimes some sort of funny white stuff inside. It's really pretty horrible. Ugh. Martha and the Muffins. I know it's out of fashion and a trifle uncool, but I can't help it, I'm a romantic fool. It's a habit of mine to watch the ship float round. On Worthing Beach, I watch the ship float round. I cast my lunch dejectedly into the murk, the horrid smelly water where the strange things lurk. The only thing that helps me keep the puke at bay is hoping they'll clean up Worthing Beach someday. In the shadow of the pier, by the harbour lights, the sea's throwing up some really lovely sights. Used condoms, toilet paper and a tampon or two, all mixed with rotting seaweed in a fetid stew. Cast my lunch dejectedly into the murk, the horrid smelly water where the strange things lurk. The only thing that helps me keep the puke at bay is hoping they'll clean up Worthing Beach someday. Worthing Beach, tar, decay and slime. Worthing Beach, tar, decay and slime. Oh, Worthing Beach, tar, decay and slime. Worthing Beach, tar, decay and slime. Shore and Beach, tar, decay and slime. Shore and Beach, tar, decay and slime. Southwick Beach, tar, decay and slime. Southwick Beach, tar, decay and slime, and use condoms. Whoa. Yuck. Tar. But maybe even worse than that sort of pollution is the pollution of the whole of Europe by a festering pit of scum, which we thought we defeated at the end of the Second World War, but no, they're back. They're all over the place, especially in Germany, raising their right arms in a fashion indicating the fact that their IQ is lower than their boot size. This is called This Is Free Europe, Never Again. It's about Nazis and the rise of fascism in Central Europe. And it's dedicated to anti-fascists everywhere that's standing up against it. In 2 weeks' time, this is my last show in Australia. I've had a wonderful time being here 5 weeks, got 2 weeks off, and I'm going back to Germany. There are places in Germany where people like me actually find it very difficult to play anymore because the fascists outnumber the anti-fascists. That's something to think about. Dead of night in Carpentras brings the ghosts from the days of fishing. Broken windows in the high street, swastikas in the cemetery, blonde young men on a Leipzig evening, beer and loathing on their breath. 10 to 1 for the cowardly fathers, arms outstretched in the sign of death. If it takes a voice, then shout the truth. If it takes a hand, then hold them back. If it takes a fist, then smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Amiens, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. Free Europe, never again. Afternoon in a Soviet city, now they don't even need to hide. Blue shirt thugs advertise their pogroms, none are arrested, none are tried. Panyaks brings a memory. What memories for these Russian Nazis? Children killed in front of their mothers, human skin turned into lampshades. If it takes a voice, then shout the truth. If it takes a hand, then hold them back. If it takes a fist, then smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Amiens, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. Once more we see that darkness in the European soul. As the chains fall, there comes an awful beast. His eyes are staring, and there is hell upon his brow. Oscar Brosworth, great Montagna, listen to me now. If it takes a voice, then shout the truth. If it takes a hand, then hold them back. If it takes a fist, then smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Amiens, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. I'm a Jew in Carpentras, I'm a Jew in a Soviet city, I'm an Asian in the East End, I'm a Cuban in East Germany. Don't tell me, it doesn't concern us, it's not something to ignore. They are feeding on our apathy, that's how it began before. If it takes a voice, then shout the truth. If it takes a hand, then hold them back. If it takes a fist, then smash them down. From Cable Street to Hoyerswerda, Amiens, Schoenhuber and Le Pen. This is free Europe, never again. This is free Europe. This is free Europe. This is free Europe. This is free Europe. Thank you. Cheers. I've got to read this one too because I wrote this one last week actually, and it's a horror story. It's another one in the it's another one in the tradition of the Bronwyn Bishop poem. But this is a horror story of my own personal experience. This is the true story of my first experience, or my first encounter with Channel 7 television and the Steve Vizard channel. I performed this on Triple J earlier this evening. I don't know how many people heard that? Yeah, a few people were great. I performed, and the Bronwyn, how many people heard the Bronwyn Bishop one as well? Yeah. Basically, it was one of the most frustrating and annoying days of my life. And at the end of it, I had a choice. Did I keep the fuck out of the producer, or did I write a poem and get it on as many stations as I can? Well, so far it's been on 4 trips. So far I should have done it, probably done that as well. Anyway, so far it's been on 4 Triple Z in Brisbane. It's been on 2 SER. It's been on Triple J, and it's hopefully going to go on a couple more things. Hopefully on Monday on The Noise or something on SBS television as well. So I want to get it around. Just what an unprofessional bunch of total wankers they are. And I mean, apart from anything else, I mean, I don't know whose money they're wasting. Presumably some. I mean, they're sponsored by banks and corporations, whatever. But they paid a total of about $1,500 to fly me to Melbourne, incredible peak rate fares and all the rest of it, to get me to sort of like appear at this thing that they never put me on. But anyway, this is the story, and I didn't know anything about Steve Vizard. There I was in Auckland, having finished my tour of New Zealand on Sunday night, getting absolutely paralytic at a place called the Shakespeare in the middle of Auckland. Few Kiwis in the audience. It's for the Kiwis in the house. Yeah, Kiwis in the area. It is the only place I've yet found in the whole of Australia and New Zealand that serves like decent home-brewed real ale. There must be somewhere in Sydney, I'm sure. It's the only place that I found anyway. Was in Auckland. Anyway, so I was getting paralytic in there, and I was up there. I was there till 4 in the morning. At 6 o'clock, I had to get up to fly to Sydney to do some interviews and go on the Steve Vizard. And I didn't know about Steve Vizard. I didn't know anything about it at all. I had no idea. I mean, Frank and Mike said it's really good exposure, so I thought, well, fair enough. I mean, I don't know, you know. I mean, the Australians are mainly pretty intelligent, but buffet, yeah, buffet. Well, anyway, make up your own mind at the end of this poem. First, it's a rap. It's the Vizard rap. It's its second public performance. The first was in Brisbane during the week. I wrote it actually at the Dawn Fraser swimming pool in Balmain last Saturday. It's great in there, isn't it? Because you can actually, while you're actually swimming, there's all these fish swimming. So, you know, so you can caress the mullet at the same time. I like caressing mullet. We were in Kurungai National Park last Sunday. Me and Frank, my agent over here, we were caressing. I was chasing Ray. And there's loads of Ray, you know, and it's like, you know, and I was chasing them up the beach and sort of like tickling them underneath, and they were all swimming away. And I was thinking, you know, this is really strange. I mean, it's really sad. They're all sort of like scared of me. And I wondered if the Lemonheads had done the same thing and then named an album after it. I won't say any more than that. If you don't know them, I mean, they're fucking shy bastards, basically, but they're flatfish. I'll do more poems about flatfish later on, anyway. The Vizard rap. 6 AM, Auckland, NZ. I groan and moan, stagger out of bed. Had too much beer the night before. My head feels like a shithouse store, but I'm on my way. No time for sleep. Away from the land of the long white sheep and off to Oz, where the cricket is crap. And thus begins the Vizard rap. Out through Ponsonby, up in the sky. Breakfast is served. Oh, lugworm pie. A couple of hours and we touch down, and it's great to be back in Sydney town. Today's a big day, that's for sure. Yeah, here I am, come back for more. Stacks of interviews, but that's not all. MC Attila's had the corporate call. Yeah, I'm going on Vizard. Channel 7, a stockbroker stab at mainstream heaven. I've never seen the show, there's no way I could, but it's prime time telly, so it must be good, right? On the phone to the press all day, trying to think of new things to say to the same old questions. You're so rude. Some people must hate you. Don't you get sued? Now I'm still pissed on Auckland beer and my brain's still back in the Shakespeare, but I tell it like it is, that it's time to go. 4 PM and it's off to the show. Got to get to the airport. Planes in an hour. I'm knackered as hell, but telly has power. Primetime poems from the Pomeranda. Half dead or not, going to give it some banter. I'm going on Vizard. Channel 7, a stockbroker stab at mainstream heaven. I've never seen the show, there's no way I could, but it's primetime telly, so it must be good, right? Now I'm at the airport, minutes to spare, and I'm checked in, but the plane's not there. Well, it is there, but it's all in bits, and the maintenance staff are having fits. The radar's broken, my hopes are dying. A Kiwi would have more chance of flying. The next 4 planes are all fully booked. Oh, woe is me, my goose is cooked. But this MC has a tongue in his head, and I won't give up till the day I'm dead. To the airport manager, I say, yo, I need some help, man. I gotta go, because I'm going on Vizard. Channel 7, stockbroker stab at mainstream heaven. I've never seen the show, there's no way I could, but it's primetime telly, so it must be good, right? Yes, he says, it's good exposure. When you're on Vizard, everyone knows you. My wife and I watch it regularly. It's nearly as good as Jeopardy. Well, that's rather strange. To myself, I rap, because Jeopardy's a steaming pile of crap. But I don't say that to this helpful man who says, I'll get you a flight as soon as I can. And sure enough, folks, he does it too. To that airport manager, respect is due. Here's your ticket and off you go. Best of luck and enjoy the show. Up in the air where the sky is blue. Dinner is served. Oh, lamb's nipple stew. And I hit Melbourne 2 hours late, but well in time for that TV date. Yeah, I'm going on Vizard, Channel 7. A stockbroker stab at mainstream heaven. I've never seen the show, there's no way I could, but it's prime time telly, so it must be good, right? I get to the studio 9:15. Meet the producer. Everything's fine. Hi there, Attila. All right, mate. I saw you in Edinburgh. Think you're great. Do us a poem and sing us a tune, then get yourself ready for a sound check soon. Oh, by the way, Vizard's away. Bob Geldof's hosting the show today. Now, Geldof's sound check goes on and on till the time for sound check's nearly gone. Half an hour till we hit TV. I'm beginning to think they've forgotten me. But I get my turn and I give them a shock with the Bible according to Rupert Murdoch. After all the hassle and the shit, I'm finally going to do my bit. And then the producer comes up to me with a face longer than Morrissey and tells me straight, I'm off the show. It's just the way that these things go. Bob Geldof's doing an extra song, so there's no time. It'll be too long. I'm sorry, mate, but he's the boss. If I say no, he might get cross. Geldof's the star, can please himself. You're just a poet, back on the shelf. And then, afraid I'll cut out rough. Don't worry, John, I like your stuff. But I snap back, don't take the piss. I can't believe I'm hearing this. I was up at 6 with a head full of beer. Took God knows how long to get here. Blagged a spot on a full-up flight. Got here in real good time tonight. And now you say I'm off the show. Well, just hear this before I go. You are an unprofessional dog, and I've got more brain cells in my pork. So, I didn't get on Vizard, Channel 7. No stockbroker stab at a mainstream heaven. So farewell, Bob, producer 2. I hope your next meal's super glue. But there's a sequel to this tale. A few days later, at the Annandale in Parramatta Road in Sydney town, I told the punters what went down. And they did hiss and they did boo and said, a bloody good job too. That show's appalling, really bad. They blew you out, you should be glad. St Kilda, Brisbane, Collingwood, all told me, rubbish mate, no good. In Adelaide and Hobart town, they gave it a great big thumbs down. And so I thought, hey John, enough. It's time you got to watch this stuff. So one day, feeling rather pissed, I turned it on to see what I'd missed. And what I saw freaked out my head. Ideal entertainment for the dead. A programme tailor-made for sheep, or sending lemmings off to sleep. A hopeless mass of total smeg. I won't go on it if they beg. Cheers. Well, I don't know. I did watch it, and I really couldn't believe that somebody as completely brain dead as that could actually have a television program, or that the guests that could be invited on it could all have the collective intelligence of a retarded prawn. Well, there you go. Anyway, okay. Well, now we're going to talk about why some people have the collective intelligence of a retarded prawn, and this is this is my first ecclesiastical piece of the evening. And I wrote this after William Collins, which is an English publishing house, which publishes the Bible. It was taken over by Rupert Murdoch. Now, we all know what Rupert Murdoch does. The things that he takes over, he puts breasts on them, fills them full of right-wing politics and scandal, and uses them to control the political destinies of entire continents. In other words, he's like Midas in reverse. Everything he touches turns to shit. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was gotcha. And the Lord Rupert said, let there be a royal family. And let entire forests and the ecological balance of several continents be destroyed in the eternal outpourings of smeg about these unspeakable transmissions. And let babies be born to this royal family. And let these unspeakable transmissions be even more uninteresting than a wet afternoon on the terraces at the MCG. And the Lord Rupert said, let there be soap operas. Let each of these soap operas be so awe-inspiringly moronic as to make a wet afternoon
on the terraces of the MCG seem a truly uplifting experience. Let entire forests and the ecological balance of several continents be destroyed in the endless vistas of retarded outpourings about these unspeakable transmissions, and let there be enormous breasts. An endless bonking, and hours and days and weeks and months and years of chauvinistic propaganda written by semi-literate, sexually inadequate craven toadies, so that the brain-dead prats like the bonking and the soap operas and the breasts and the royal stories get the politics as well. Let any journalist who tries to stand up to the editor and proprietor in the name of decency, intelligence, journalistic integrity and good taste be summarily dismissed and cast forever into a bottomless pit of decomposing chimpanzee smegma. And let those journalists who suffer this fate rejoice at the great career move they have just made. And the Lord Rupert looked at his work, and even he saw that it was a load of crap. But this was the enterprise culture, and it sold millions, so it was good. And on the same basis, he decided to take over the television too. And the earth itself wept. And little robins vomited. And furry, cuddly animals threw themselves under trains. And the whole thing was filmed by Sky Channel for a horror nature programme. And the most awful thing of all was that this was just the beginning. Thank you. I read an interview on Friday in the Sydney Morning Herald with Ice-T. Now, I don't know whether the Sydney Morning Herald would have interviewed him if he'd been white and from Sydney, given that what he does a lot of the time is like insult women and talk about how big his prick is and how many guns he's got. Personally, I think it's a really naff concept to make huge allowances for people purely and simply on the basis that they're black and come from South Central LA. And this next rap is about this. It's a rap about rappers with big knobs and heavy metal postures. Right, and I mean metal as in guns, not like guitars. You're the Iron Man rappers with your big gold chains. You talk like the clappers, but you don't use your brains. The Grandmaster's message made me hold my breath, but now I'd rather listen to Lawnmower Death. You rap about your gold and you rap about your car. You rap about what good rappers you are. You rap about your guns and the money you make and the size of your one-eyed trouser snake. You say it's bigger than the Albert Hall, but I bet it's like an earthworm, very, very small. You say it's bigger than the Albert Hall, but I bet it's like a maggot, or you ain't got one at all. You run on stage with your guns in a rage like angry prisoners fresh out of the cage. Your fingers on the trigger and you want to engage. Turning on the chill in the new ice age, and there's violence in the air. But some of you like it, you don't seem to care, and there's violence in the air. But some of you like it, you don't seem to care. No, I don't know the dollar and I don't know the gun and the rapping they come in don't bother me none. I want to rap fast and I want to have fun. And I mean, have fun, not shoot someone with your massive testicles and concrete cock. Gonna bust a gonad every time you rock. Every move in your body is designed to shock. So yo there, shiver boy, how's your flock? No, I don't want to hear about segregation. I don't want to hear about your perfect nation. Don't want to hear about Farrakhan, because Farrakhan is an evil man. And hey everybody, let's make a show, because if Farrakhan gets you, you're gonna go from the hair on my head to my hairy scroll. I'm out of the bottle, I'm ready to blow. The rap I rap is black and white. This rap says unionise, don't fight. This rap doesn't wallow in liberal guilt. It just says equal, up to the hill. This rap's got a penis of average size, not a huge great whale flopping out of its flies. No gold, no chains, no hype, no lies, just a thinking brain and a pair of sharp eyes. So wise up rappers before you spout, find something original to rap about. I've had my say, now it's over and out from MC Attila. The poetry tout said MC Attila. The poetry tout said MC Attila. The poetry tout said MC Attila. Signing out, cheers. But needless to say, not all rappers are like that. There's lots of good ones like Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy and Consolidated and the Rebel MC. And there's some really strange ones, and I'm going to talk to you about the strangest rapper of them all right now. Because this rapper doesn't have like really new trendy gear, he's got an anorak. And he doesn't have like the sort of like the real hip trainers. He got his trainers off his mum, and he's got a carrier bag from Millet's, which is a really naff shop and in it, it's got a gun or a penis extension. It's got a notebook and a camera and kind of thing, dictaphone machine that they use. We're talking train spotting here, folks. We're talking people who go down the station, not to catch the train, but to take photos of the fucking thing and get the number. And now, it is a strange, weird hobby. I accept that. It's a very pommy hobby too, because there obviously aren't very many trains in Australia for you to get the number of. But in the UK, there are substantial numbers of people who, while the rest of us are out making love or going to gigs or getting pissed, go down the station. They have dictaphone machines to record the sound of the train as it leaves the station. They have video cameras to video the train, little cameras to take photos of the train, and of course notebooks to take down the number. Now, we're not talking steam trains here. We're not talking like original designs. We're talking diesel locomotives who look absolutely, totally identical to each other. And some of them, being very dedicated train spotters, managed to get the numbers of all the trains that travel around the UK, everywhere. And then they go to Paris and go down the metro and start taking the numbers of French metro trains. Or they start taking taxi numbers. It's very, very weird. I just think to myself, if you want to do something so completely futile, why don't you just copy down the telephone directory? Or start, I don't know, start supporting Australian soccer or something. I went to the semi-final. I've got to say, I went to the semi-final when I was in Melbourne at Australia against Brazil, and it was quite interesting because the Australians are obviously coached by people that want to play the way that England play, which is a really crap way of playing football. But Brazil were coached by people that like to play football properly, so it was an interesting experience because I support Brighton, and Brighton were really crap, basically, really. But supporting Brighton and being a socialist is like really frustrating right now. I mean, it's like, you know the myth of Sisyphus? You know, Sisyphus was condemned forever to roll a boulder up a mountain, and when he got to the top, he rolled down the other side. Well, that's what I feel like at the moment, but I don't really get me down, no way. We got to the FA Cup final once a very long time ago, you know, and we won an election in 1974. I mean, anyway, what can I say? This is MC Train Spotter, the world's first rapping train spotter, so of course he is MC Train Spotter, and he has his posse, and they're called the Platform 2 Live Crew. And he has his homeboy who's called Nice T. Of course, he doesn't have a gun, he's got a notebook. And he thought that Boys in the Hood film was about his anorak, but of course it wasn't. But never mind. MC Train Spotter, yeah, that's me, and this is my homeboy, Nice T. Now, some people think that train spotting's wrong, but me and my posse, we say it's not. All you need is a camera, notebook and pen. You write down a number, then you write one down again. We're ignored by the nation. We go down the station, and we've got another hobby. Masturbation. Hey, don't walk away because I'm talking to you. You know what they call us? The Platform 2 Live Crew. Now, me and my homeboys work in a bank, and at the weekend we go to the library. Saturday mornings I like shopping, and then I go amateur league ground hopping. I nearly caught pneumonia at Billy Gibson Thonia. Want to know the layout of the ground? I'll phone you. And at half time I've got everything I need. A nice telephone directory to read. Yes, MC Train Spotter in the house. I've got the sus and I've got the nous. I don't even get her like those rappers in the States. I like the police. Yes, they're my best mates. I've never been arrested. It goes without saying. I've reported lots of people I've seen travelling without paying. And here's what I say to every other rapping crew. Well, I'm okay at rapping, but I'm not as good as you. But I do think you spend far too much on your gear. I could save you some money, so please listen here. My trainers came from Oxfam and they cost 50p. My anorak's my mum's and the carry bag was free. I wouldn't wear a gold chain, somebody might mug me. And I don't want a baseball cap, they really bug me. We're the Parker posse, we're the boys in the hood, and it keeps out the rain now. Isn't that good? And if you want information when you're down the station, just ask me, it'll fill me with elation. MC Train Spotter, yeah, that's me. Yo there, homeboy, want a cup of tea? Cheers. Cheers. This next one's, well, shall we say, about, well, xenophobia in the widest possible sense of the term. And I'm going to sort of like try and introduce this by giving you some idea of the sort of festering maelstrom of total and utter smeg, which I sort of come from right now. I mean, I've been away for 7 weeks. I'm going back on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to going back because it'll be wonderful to see my partner again, and it'll be wonderful to see Brighton Hove Albion playing. But apart from that, I mean, there ain't a lot really. I mean, I know Joyce missing me as much as I'm missing her, and I know that Brighton Hove Albion are probably not even going to get in the playoffs out of the 3rd division. So I mean, apart from that, basically, I'm quite happy to stay out here, really, frankly, because Britain in 1993 is a really horrible place. I mean, there's there's a tourism board. Well, I'm the anti-tourism board. I'm basically saying until we get the Tories out, until we can start to recreate the kind of vision that my parents' generation had at the end of the Second World War, there's no point in fucking coming there because it's horrible. I mean, there was a recent opinion poll which said that something like 65% of people living in England would rather live somewhere else, and that's about it. I mean, 11 months ago, yes, it is, 11 months ago, they voted for a Conservative government. They didn't do so because it was in their interest to do so. They did so because in the Sun, on the front page of the Sun, on the day of the election, there was a picture of Neil Kinnock with his head turned into a light bulb, and it said, "If this man wins, will the last person to leave Britain turn out the lights?" Now, this is after 5 years of economic rationalism, or 11, 12, 13 years of economic rationalism, which completely fucked up the entire social infrastructure, destroyed the education system, destroyed the health service, turned people against each other, smashed the kind of like understanding and sort of helping each other kind of society which was built up again at the end of the Second World War, completely destroyed it, turned everyone into people like Margaret Thatcher said, there is no such thing as society, only individuals and their families. But the Tories in their newspapers, and it wasn't just the Sun, it was like 11 out of 13 newspapers said, if you vote Labour, it'll be even worse than it is now. And I mean, for most people that was pretty difficult, but they believed it. Now that basically proves that the British public, a lot of them are a complete bunch of gullible sheep who will do what they're told in newspapers. Well, not newspapers, I mean the Sun isn't a newspaper, it's a toilet accessory. I wouldn't even wipe my arse on it because the print comes off. Now the thing I really enjoyed about being over here was that you had exactly the same electoral coverage in your papers. In other words, a huge bias towards the Liberals for the whole, certainly the whole of the week that I was reading the newspapers in Sydney, and I gather from what from reports that came from elsewhere, exactly the same thing was happening elsewhere. That was like 2 newspapers in the whole country that came out supporting Keating. And basically, people over here seem to take an opposite view. They said, well, if the paper tells me to vote one way, I'm going to vote the other. Which is fucking brilliant. You know, that is fucking wonderful. You know, and it gives me a hell of a lot of faith to be in a country where people do not actually do what they're told all the time, especially when they're told to do it by festering pieces of shit, right? Like Gary Bushell, for instance, who used to actually write for Sounds and be a punk rocker, and now he's one of the leading lights on the Sun, and it has the, and basically encourages people. I mean, basically what happens in Britain is that people are encouraged to be stupid. It's like lauded and glorified. It's like being unintelligent, being stupid, being thick, not thinking for yourself, just being a total grey dickhead. It's like the way to be. For fuck's sake, we've got a Prime Minister who's made a whole career out of not having any O-levels and being a fucking bank clerk, you know. What a dick, anyway. I mean, I'm going to do it. This is for John Major. And it's called Every Time I Eat Vegetables, It Makes Me Think of You. No agony, no ecstasy, no pleasure and no pain. So exquisitely uninteresting, you drive your wife insane. The TV is your oracle, the newspaper is your guide, and your shiny little vehicle is your passion and your pride. You've done the same things every day for nigh on 20 years, and in your ludicrous routines you hide your worthless fears. On the blandest boat in boredom, you are captain of the crew, and every time I eat vegetables, it makes me think of you. You died the day that you were born, and now you sit and rot, an empty-headed dinosaur in the pond that time forgot. Your image is respectable, there's nothing underneath, and the whole thing is as surely false as 9/10 of your teeth. Your views are carbon copies of the rubbish that you read, and you swallow every morsel Rupert Murdoch seeks to feed. You go to bed at 10 because you've nothing else to do, and every time I eat vegetables it makes me think of you. Your sex life is a catalogue of your poor wife's frustrations. Like thousands of red Indians, she has her reservation. And so she took a lover. Of course, you'll never know. The last time you made love to her was many years ago. And if you had some spirit, then it wouldn't be so bad. It's your awesome anonymity which makes me get so mad. Your brain stem is a nether world where bored train spotters queue. And every time I eat vegetables, it makes me think of you. You're a cabbage in a pickle, and your brain has sprung a leak. So let us keep our distance, because I vomit when you speak. I'll always do a runner, so I'm going where you've been, because to see you chills my marrow and turns my tomatoes green. You're an 18-carat cretin with a dandelion wine. So stick to your herbaceous border, and I'll stick to mine. And although this verse is corn, it's amazing. But it's true that every time I eat vegetables, it makes me think of you, Tar. Cheers. Well, this next poem I performed well over 1,000 times. It dates right back from the very earliest days that I started performing in 1981. And it's a poem, I mean, I've written an awful lot of poems in that time, and I've been performing all over the world for 11 years and had a wonderful time doing it. And sometimes I get fed up with doing stuff and I don't do it anymore. Sometimes it goes out of date and so I don't do it anymore. This poem, sadly, is as relevant today as the day I wrote it 11 years ago, and it looks like it's going to be relevant for a fuck of a long time to come, which is really bad news. And I've never got bored performing this poem because it means a hell of a lot to me. And it's a poem that I wrote about the British, and I'm sure it's not just the British, it's male power structures everywhere, attitude to women, and specifically attitude to rape. In 1982, a High Court judge in the United Kingdom ruled that a woman who was hitchhiking late at night and was picked up and raped was asking to be raped because she was a woman and she was hitchhiking late at night, and that she was therefore guilty of contributory negligence. And the man who raped her was let off with a fine. And I wrote this poem, which is about a High Court judge who picks up a hitchhiker late at night and gets beaten up. And it's also called Contributory Negligence. Hitching up the M11, coming back from an Upstart ski, got picked up at 11:30 by this bloke in a funny wig, flash Mercedes, new and gleaming, deep pile seats and deep seat piles. I got in and sat there scheming while the dickhead flashed me smiles. Told me he was back from sessions with a load of brain-dead hacks. Told me he made no concessions to the boot boys and the blacks. Said he thought that it was stupid fuss about rapists on the news. Bloke was only playing Cupid. Girls like that, they don't refuse. Asked me if I thought him enemy. Asked me if I bore a grudge. Told me that he came from Henley. Said he was a High Court judge. I asked him to stop a second. Need a slash. That's what I said. When he did, the anger beckoned and I smacked him in the head. Took the keys and took his money. Crashed the car into a ditch. Though he moaned, "They'll get you, sonny." Got away without a hitch. I don't think they'll ever find me, because I'm many miles away. But if one day they're right behind me, I know what I'm going to say. He asked for it. He's rich and snobbish, right-wing, racist, sexist too, brain-dead, stupid, sick and slobbish, should be locked in London Zoo. He wanted me to beat him up. It was an open invitation. Late at night he picked me up, an act of open provocation. High Court judges who are blind, they should stay home in nice warm beds, and if they must drive late at night, should never pick up Harlow Reds. A 5p fine is right and proper, and to sum up my defence, it was his fault he came a cropper. Contributory negligence. Tar. Right, okay, this is another poem about xenophobia and the strange attitudes of the British. This is something I wrote about, well, basically The Sun, which is this toilet accessory which masquerades as a newspaper, which I've really explained. Okay, well, 1982, Falklands War. In other words, like a load of highly trained British soldiers go and murder loads and loads of conscripts, conscripted into the Argentinian army under a fascist junta in order to gain back a bit of rock with a load of sheep on it, and most importantly, a load of oil underneath it, which is what they're more worried about. Okay, and underneath in this war sun, the paper that supports our boys, okay? Right, 1988, European Championship soccer finals in Italy, in Germany. Over there, English hooligans, right? Union Jacks on their heads, right? Union Jacks on their heads, like, you know, with Union Jack underpants on their heads. I'm talking about here. I don't know what they've got in their underpants, but you know, Union Jack underpants on their heads. Sort of like, a lot of them don't even like football. They're fascists who are there to stir up trouble and try and foment nationalistic hatred. And some German thugs, exactly the same, you know, like going for the sort of Nazi bit. So German thugs throw tear gas at English thugs, okay? Right? Okay. Germans throw tear gas at English thugs. So the sun, those brain cells, those 3 brain cells start to sort of like, Germans, gas, English, gas, Germans, gas, Germans, gas. And then I start thinking, well, they're not our boys, really, are they? Because they're not like paid to be soldiers, you know? They're not actually paid to kill people. They're just freelance thugs who've gone abroad to cause trouble. But they're like English, aren't they? And there's Germans over there who are throwing gas at them, right? Brain cells crank a little bit further. Sun headline, European Championships 1988, Dusseldorf. Krauts gas our thugs. They're not our boys, but they're ours. They're our thugs, yeah. This is called Xenophobia, 1993. Welcome to the single European market. It's a European travelogue as written by the Sun. And it's very satirical. For the 4 people on this tour who didn't actually understand that it was, I have started to say it now, because when you get people going, yeah, in the middle, especially when they look like skinheads, you start to be a little bit worried. This is for sharp, because I know very many skinheads are not fascist or stupid. This is called, xenophobia. The Dutch, they're much too much. We're going to kick them in the crutch, flick bogies at the slimy walks and trip them up with our own clogs, would twist their ears and break their glasses, stick their tulips up their asses, fail their women's with our bowels and vomit into their canals. The Danes will bash their brains and wire their willies to the mains, boycott their bacon and their prawns, go and piss over their lords. The scabby Scandinavian scum got scrotal scabies in the bum. They live on fish heads and weak tea, their lager tastes like K9B. The Swiss, they stink of piss. No race more tedious than this, with cuckoo clocks and huge amounts of money in their bank accounts. They may be rich, but we don't care. We'll shave off all their pubic hair and make them live in Belgium. That's the right place for the boring prats. The French, they smell like tench. We'll chase them all into a trench, get loads of garlic on our breath and suffocate them all to death. We don't like onions, snails or Proust, so smeg off frogs, we rule the roost. You may be existentialists, but we're dead hard and we get pissed. The Czechs, they're scared of sex. They've all got crabs and skinny necks. Their cars are shit, their beer's too strong. We're not going to stay there for long. There's absolutely zilch to do. There's no black label and no glue. So we'll just wreck the place and go and leave them to their cues. No, the Krauts, they think they're louds. But I've seen nastier Brussels sprouts. They strut around like football yobs, but they're all talking cheesy knobs. They live on pickled vegetation. What a fucking stupid nation. All their nipples are bright green, the strangest folk I've ever seen. The Swedes, well, they're all weeds, and all their cities look like leads. They walk around with plastic bags and noses stuck in porno mags. They live on fish, just like the Danes, but they've got even smaller brains. Their language sounds like double Dutch. The land smells like a llama's crutch. The Poles eat toilet rolls. Their underpants are full of holes. They have to queue over now to get a mouldy cauliflower. They whine and whinge and gripe and moan and play the hairy pink trombone. They're always wanking in the loo. There's fuck what else for them to do. The Yanks, many thanks for bringing in your bombs and tanks, protecting us from Arab hordes, and bringing herpes and skateboards. You're foreigners, but you're all right, 'cause you speak English and you fight. Or so it tells me in the Sun. Cool, being a moron is such fun! Thank you. Cheers. Now I'm going to do a couple of love poems. It's time I did some really... my microphone is actually getting like Mr. Floppy. After years and years of doing this, I've never been able to understand why microphone stands suddenly droop. I mean, I don't know what they do, I don't know how they do it, but they droop. Anyway, they droop. I was in Droop Street in Melbourne not so long ago. It's strange, Why would they name a place Droop Street? Near Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, Droop Street. Is that where the hard-ons used to live? Did Mr. Floppy move away from it? Okay, this is a love poem set in Worthing, refers back to an earlier song. On the beach at Worthing, the lugworm casts by the sewage outfall look like dirty shepherd's pie. We walk the shingle hand in hand, and the crabs on the nearby groin remind me of more intimate times. Your hand resembles a limp flounder. I squeeze it dispassionately. The seaweed smells like a dirty toilet. Refreshed, we return for dinner. And another one, this is called Dustbin Poem. Today I took out the rubbish and thought of you. At the bottom of my dustbin, the maggots wriggled round and round like planes circling over Heathrow Airport. Now and then, two larval aviators collided in the crowded, circular, putrescent grooves of metal, and I thought, yes, this is us. Not even ships that pass in the night, but maggots wriggling in predetermined circles in the putrescent dustbin of the enterprise culture. And another one, this is called River Poem. You flow through my life like the Great Western Canal, sluggish and occasionally smelly, but interesting for all that. Your breasts are like narrowboats, only rounder and softer. And another one, Rain. Rain is grass, the flooded lake is a summer meadow, so you, my darling, being 9/10 water, are a cricket pitch. And I am the heavy roller in the morning dew. And another one, bedtime. You spread your wings, I sow my seed, our bodies rhyme as exquisitely as does this poem. And another one. This is called To Slough and Sanity. It's a poem in which the poet compares the tribulations of his beloved falling into a ditch in a field near Slough, which is a rather naff place just to the west of London, with the tribulations of the various combatants in the trenches in the First World War. Far from our city haunts, besieged on all sides, we stumble apprehensively through a minefield of cowpats. The clawing earth sucks greedily at your high heels, and you surrender reluctantly to the ditch's embrace. Crouching to your aid, I suddenly see before me all of Flanders in 1916. Trench, barbed wire, broken glass, sticky nettles, maggots. The stench of death. As my outstretched arm levers you upright, you suggest that I may be guilty of pretentiousness and ill-timed remarks. And as I purse my lips in reply, the enemy come over the top. Huge, lumbering tanks, lowing deeply. An armory of udders. Bitter memories indeed. With a yell, I sound the alarm and we beat a disorderly retreat to Slough and sanity. Thank you. It's enough love poetry for the moment, I think. Although, I'm doing another love poem. Now this is actually a love poem to a place, but it's not a fish. Although there are fish in it, it's quite a lot of fish in it actually. This is about my home village where I grew up, and after 10 years living in Essex and indeed travelling around the world, as I still do very much, I moved back a year and a half ago. This is for my mum, who's actually here tonight, having just come back from New Zealand, where some of our relatives live in New Zealand. She's been over there seeing our relatives, and she's come back with me for the last few days for the end of my term. We go back together on Tuesday. And this is called Southwick. It's a quaint tale of village life, marine pollution and conservatism. Southwick is like Amsterdam, only smaller and quieter. There aren't any prostitutes or sex shops or music shops or book shops. New model army who've never played here. Very few people use illicit substances, and no one commits adultery. Southwick is like Amsterdam, except that when you walk through the square, the people who ask you for money have perms instead of dreadlocks. Crack is something found in the pavements that the nice Ada Council workmen missed. And pavement is a pavement, not a culturally successful grunge rock band. Score is something Southwick Football Club do about 4 times a year. Gay means light-hearted or merry. And dope is someone who left their bus pass at home. Terry and June have always lived in Southwick. Richard Bryce thinks it's very nice. Monty Python visit occasionally. The Levellers' new CD was spotted on sale in Woolworths once. And all the poets and socialists were at home. Except me. I guess I slipped through the net. Southwick is like Amsterdam, except the power station only has one chimney, the second amputated, along with its body, in a very radical architectural mastectomy. And there's only one canal, but it does have rats, though. You can see them scurrying around the jetties at dusk, which is lovely. And it's full of mullet in the summer, and quite a lot of flatfish, too. Which, for a lover of flatfish like myself, if you mull it over, constitutes a ray of hope, since it's actually rather a brill and soulful place to write poetry. And you can skate to, if you're a dab hand at it, but be careful not to flounder over the edge, because the water is rather foul. And in October, there's often nearly as much scum on its surface as there is at the Brighton Centre down the road attending the Conservative Party conference. Southwick is like Amsterdam. Okay, Anne Frank didn't live here, and there aren't as many bicycles, and the Heineken's a lot weaker, but we've got a lot more flatfish. And where there are flatfish, there's poetry. Thank you. I gather we have a 11:45 curfew here, so I should do one more poem and 2 more songs to finish. Thanks everyone very, very much for coming to my last show in Australia. I've had a wonderful time on this tour, as I did at my first tour. I promise I'll be back fairly soon. And you know, I mean, it's a great place to come to escape from the ravages of the bank clerk and his posse. I just hope that fairly soon we're able to get rid of them. Some hope. I mean, you know, until we get rid of Rupert Murdoch's influence, I don't know. I mean, maybe we should set up an alternative. I'd like Colonel Gaddafi to fund a newspaper in the UK. That's a great concept. Call it something like the Daily Libyan Student from Hell. I mean, I'm sure it'd have a great influence. Anyway, one last poem. This is an old one, really old one, which I wrote in 1982, and it's my greatest hit because it appeared on an LP, which sold hundreds and thousands of copies because it was only 99 pence. And the LP was called Pillows and Prayers, and this was my contribution. It was a compilation album. And this is a true story of being threatened in a hamburger bar in London called a Wimpy Bar. We have Wimpy bars in here, you don't have them, I think. But by a couple of 9-year-old kids, and it's called A Bang and a Wimpy. Swing door swings open in the fast food fun palace. 2 pairs of eyes meet mine. I steel myself and grimace. Elbows against the counter, they slump. Mean-eyed, po-faced, no nonsense. Prepubescent pugilists. Terror tots, South London's finest. Knee-high nihilists planning nursery crimes. The Wimpy Bar Mafia, 9 years old, macho, murderous. Primary school but primed to kill, or maim, or terrorise. Size you up and slice you through with Peter Sutcliffe eyes. They're into older women. 11 or 12's their favourite age. They chat them up as they come in. Invade their space like space invaders. Oi, love, want some chips? Then invite them home for glue. And a private rendition of the latest Slayer single, or some other manic mayhem to make their extremities tingle. Soon they'll be old enough to bump into a disco, but till then they'll stick to the hamburger hustle. A bang and a wimpy and a bang. The grim and grimy gangsters from the Mustard and Crass gang. Video vandals, violent virgin vigilantes verging on the vindictive. No, I've been searching for the young soul rebels, been searching everywhere, couldn't find them anywhere, but here they are in the Wimpy Bar at my Victoria Station. I stand and watch them operate in muted fascination till... Here, got Tim P, mate. snaps me back to hard reality, and the half-concealed glinting switchblade smiles with awful clarity. I give them 21 pence and they give me a hard smile. And I leave the price of another tube, they're happy for a while. And in the wimpy wonderland, the crisis kids run free. A bang, a wimpy and a sniff, and home in time for tea. Ta. Right, for my last couple of numbers, I'm joined once again by Nelson for my mandola, and let's start at, where's my lead? Oh, there it is. It's all right, all right. Just say thanks everyone for coming. Very enjoyable last gig in Australia. It's going to be. Oh, I was in Brisbane during the week. It was fucking hot. I went to a place called Service Paradise. I mean, that was a really talk about tourist.
Yeah.
I can't Brian as a tourist trap, but Service Paradise, fuck, you know. Sea was nice, but apparently even the beach was artificial. Apparently they built so many big, tall buildings on the side of the shore they had to make the beach sort of like renew the beach. There were no lugworms or flatfish anywhere. Loads of Germans trying to surf. I mean, I don't know, the Clash once wrote a song called Charlie Don't Surf. I think Germans don't surf either. Anyway, this is called, well, I mean, what I'm going to do for you now, I'd like to do one speed metal number in my show. This is actually a Motorhead song. It's Motorhead's Ace of Spades. Now, I think it's worth doing the Ace of Spades. I like to do it, but I like to do a new version. We're actually inspired by the 20th century French existentialist movement. Because if you listen to Motorhead's Ace of Spades, it is a pretty good, the lyrics are a pretty good summation of the 20th century French existentialist movement. And I actually think that probably Lemmy was influenced by Sartre. So I'm going to do this song as Jean-Paul Sartre would have done it if he had been the lead singer in Motorhead. Now, I mean, you know, you may think this is a strange concept, but if you listen to the lyrics, they are a fucking good summation of the basic tenets of 20th century French existentialism. If you want to gamble, baby, I'm your man. You in Serb, Lucerne is all the same to me. If you want gamble, baby, I'm your man. You in Serb, Lucerne is all the same to me. The ace of spades, the ace of spades. I know I'm born to lose, and gambling's for lose, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever. Now, you think about it, right? Okay. In the context of 20th century French existentialism, roads to freedom, right? Nausea, iron in the soul, okay? I mean, the whole basic work of Camus and Sartre, the myth of Sisyphus, the whole thing, right? A pretty good summation of that would be, I know I'm born to lose and gambling's for fools, but that's the way I like it, baby. I don't want to live forever. So let's hear it for Lemon. The ace of spades, yeah! Okay, right, it's last number time now. But really, thanks everyone for coming. If you are interested, copies of my book, Scornflakes, which is not yet available in the shops in Australia, but hopefully will be soon, available from Mike over there at the end of the gig. The t-shirt, the 668 Neighbour of the Beast t-shirt, also available over there, and my new CD on Larrikin, which is my first release in Australia, is available in the shops, and it's also available over there at the end of the gig. Thanks very much for listening to me. I began with a decomposition, I'm going to end with a decomposition. I did my first gig on my first tour of Australia with this place, and it's lovely to do my last gig on my second tour here too. This is a decomposition set in Harlow Newtown in Essex, in Spencer's Croft, where I used to live. When I came back from a gig late one night, and in the road was a cat. And the cat had a very, very short, brief, and very nasty relationship with a motor vehicle. And I put him in the bushes. And I thought that Harlow Council, being a caring Labour council, would come and clear him away. But they didn't. Winter turned to spring. Spring turned to summer. And the cat got lots and lots of little friends. Spencer's Croft. They call the Spencer's Croft cat. He lies there in the bushes, and he has got maggot. He lies there in those bushes, just rotting in the grass. And thousands of flies crawl out of his eyes and then crawl up his nose. Dead cat, strut, I'm a dead cat, lying in the bushes, got maggot. I wish I could be all carefree and wild, cause I got dead cat class and I got dead cat style. I don't bother chasing mice around. I just lie there in the bushes, rotting in the grass, waiting for the cat show, rock and bottom of the class. Dead cat, strut, I'm a dead cat, lying in the bushes, got maggot. One day I met this mean old man and he threw me in a garbage can. It don't smell nice, it's decomposing. Take my advice, don't stick your nose in. He's not the kind of cat you want to stick your nose in. He's decomposing. Thank you everyone. Cheers Sydney. Cheers Australia. Fucking great time I've had. Good night. This is where I test how pissed I am by doing a really stupid poem which means absolutely nothing, has no social, political or any other relevance. It's just really fast. Sorry? It's just really, really fast, very, very stupid. It's about trying to write an article while having a sore testicle, and it's called The Oracle. A bloke works for Pinnacle, a firm is really cynical, asked me to write an article, made it really radical. I know it sounds improbable and practically impossible, but writing up the article, I set upon my testicle and found a little particle of testicle on my article. I got a small receptacle and took it to the hospital, where they looked very sceptical. They said, that's not a testicle, it's like a comestible. You blokes said, blokes are so predictable, the nurse said, you're cynical. Waiting in the vestibule, the septic skeptic hospital, a spider is my testicle, and munched it in its mandible. The pain was really horrible, it really was incredible, so I clutched my young testicle and yelled for something medical. The nurse was still quite cynical, she bandaged up my testicle, and did be hysterical, she said, applying chemical. The bandage was impractical and it exposed my oracle. So the looks I got were quizzical as I left the local hospital. A Piccadilly convertible with a mate looks identical, really quite irascible, said, cover up my oracle. I said it was impossible because it hurt my testicle. And if he still was sceptical, he ought to ask the hospital. But by now he must be cynical. This poem's got predictable. And so I'll end this canticle, this tale of tortured testicle, mistaken for comestible. I'll finish with an oracle. It really is impossible to try and write an article while sitting on your testicle. It makes you go hysterical. Thank you. And now, what should I do now? Yeah, I'll do this one. I'll do this one. Yes, this is well, it's a kind of well, it's a song. I think I do an Australian. Yeah, I like doing an Australian song now. I think I will. This is yeah, this is by Robb Clarkson. I've been there and I know it's true. I went there. Is like it. I mean, it fucking makes Las Vegas look like Soundford, really. The people are look like and need to wear clothes because it's always hard. When you see you coming, they kiss your feet. A city of lust with golden streets. Where could I be? Atlantis or heaven? They tell me, oh, but, city of love. Fucking polluted though, I tell you. I caught a flat flathead off Macquarie Wharf in Hobart Harbour. And the flathead, as I pulled it out of the water, it sort of said, thank you for taking me out of the water for a bit, because it's so fucking polluted with sick. The buildings are grander than ancient Rome. Everyone's got a marble home, with drinks of nectar and foods of spice. Even the sewage works well nice. Where could I be? Atlantis or heaven? Now they tell me. Hobart. 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 City of love. It's the town of milk and honey. Where everyone's got stacks of money. You get no shit from fools. And none of the kids have to go to school. Drugs and drinks on your free bus trips. Rastafarian, yeah! There's no need for laws, they've abolished the courts. Makes Camelot look like Devonport. Where could I be? Atlantis or heaven? Now they tell me. Hobart. Hobart. It's the city of love. Luckily man, and a sorrowful tale I'll tell, concerning of a hero who through misfortune fell. His name it was Ben Hall, a man of high renown. He was hunted from his station, he was like a dog shot down. For years he roamed the roads, and he gave the traps some fun. £1,000 placed on his head with Gilbert and Jackie Dunn. Then parted from his comrades, the outlaws, they did agree to give away bush ranging. They would cross the briny sea. Troopers filled him full of lead, as in his sleepy lay. They wrapped him in a blanket, and they rolled him like a slug. And they led him through the streets of Forbes to show what a prize they had. Thank you, Australia. Good night. Cheers. Great tour. I'll be back soon, I promise. Fucking great. Cheers.
So yeah, I mean, I've had a good time here, and I've done 27 gigs in something like 34 days, and another 9 in New Zealand. So I'm pretty knackered. I'm going home tomorrow, but I've had a wonderful time, and this is the 11th year of my time as a performance poet, earning a living out of it all around the world. And in Australia, I've been to about half the country now, and hopefully the other half sometime in my next tour. I'm going to go to Perth, Darwin, and Ayers Rock, and places where lots of crocodiles, because I love crocodiles and lizards even more than I love dead animals. You know, like dead wombats, dead kangaroos. Didn't see enough of them. When we were travelling between Sydney and Melbourne, I think somebody had been knowing that I was coming and had gone and swept them all up, because we only saw 2 kangaroos, 1 wallaby, and a snake. Last time there were hundreds. So someone must be cleaning up the Prince's Highway these days, which is a little bit sad, really, because of course it means the maggots haven't got anything to eat, which is, you know, pretty bad news, I guess. So yeah, I'm going home tomorrow, and I'm touring Australia. I'm going home tomorrow, and I'm touring the UK in May. I'm doing some shows in Germany before that, and then going over to Canada and San Francisco and doing a load of shows out there, and then doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and then teaming up with my mate John Otway, do a double act at Edinburgh and also in the UK in October, and touring Germany again in November. So I'm pretty busy this year, and I'm working on a new book. I'm writing the world's first political sex novel set in the post-Stalinist era. And I should hopefully be back in Australia in 1994, maybe even earlier than that if some of the folk festival plans come off. So there you go. Lamb's nipple.